acolytes and our vergers, and everyone is doing such a wonderful job. So the Lord walks among the pots and the pans. A whole host of faithful people have found this to be true, including Teresa of Avila, the 15th century Spanish mystic and saint, whose quote this is. Conchita might need another adult with her. That's okay. She has a lot of children. Oh, got it. We have 2 adults, thank you. The Lord walks among the children, among the child teachers, in the classroom, in the kitchen, in the office. The Lord walks among the pots and the pans. That sentiment, which is all about the daily grind, is a bit different, isn't it, than what we hear about in the spiritual highs in the first days of after the resurrection, when people were selling all their goods and putting them in a common pot, and they were in the temple every day, and they were preaching, and 3,000 people were being baptized at a time. I mean, those were heady days. And it's not to say that miracles don't still happen, because they do. But our freedom and our joy in Christ is found far more among the mess of daily life than in those rare miraculous moments. The truth is, we meet Christ in the Mass, in church, and the mess. We meet Christ both in communion and in daily life. We meet Christ in the Mass and in the mess, especially when we freely give up the grand and embrace the ordinary. Now, giving up the grand and embracing the ordinary in the Mass, in church, means that we accept that the music may not always be soul-stirring. The lector, although it is, the lectors may not always read in a way that holds our attention. The sermon may not always be genius, maybe lackluster. We may come to the communion rail and not feel any especially close connection to God or to our neighbor. I mean, not every Sunday sends us out, tingling with spiritual satisfaction. And when we acknowledge that, and we embrace that, and we continue to be just as committed and just as faithful, our spiritual freedom, it grows. Our spiritual freedom grows. We begin to know in our core that our relationship with Christ, our joy as Christians, isn't dependent on that radical reassurance of treasured spiritual experience. Our spiritual freedom is there. Our joy is there in the ordinary passing out of the Lord. The standing and the sitting through the service. People who are new to us go, why do you guys move around so much? Stand up, sit down. It's there. The movement. It's there in the drone of the prayers of the people that we say week after week. It's there in the awkwardness of coughing or burping at the communion rail. Our spiritual freedom grows as we become less and less dependent on spiritual highs and on spiritual experiences, and more faithful, week in and week out, Sunday after Sunday, imbibing the scripture and the sacraments, and then living them out as best as we can during the rest of the week. Asking for God's grace and God's guidance, and trusting that we do, in fact, have that, whether we feel particularly close to God or not. Giving up the grand and embracing the ordinary in daily life means holding our ambitions and our desires with a loose hand, not focusing on the next big thing, the next promotion, the next raise, the next degree, the next day, the next relationship. Contentment and gratitude with things just the way they are. Practicing connection and commitment and acceptance of yourself and the people around you just the way they are. Sounds like simple advice, doesn't it? But the truth is, this is where Christ meets us and transforms us. God's grace, it allows us to be transformed by doing those little acts of life with great love. Doing the dishes, sanding the deck, wiping the noses, drying tears, driving to work, emailing your friends, figuring out how to fit in the dentist appointment and the YMCA exercise, and helping out in the morning shelter. Monthly budgeting for college and for retirement and for tithing. This is where spiritual transformation happens in the ordinary rounds of life. And it happens without our aiming at it. Because once you aim at something, particularly joy, happiness, freedom, it kind of tends to dissolve. You can't aim at it. Joy happens, Christ happens, love happens, freedom happens when we're not aiming at it, at that grand experience, but when we're daily just giving ourselves away on behalf of others. When we're allowing our lives to be laid down as the Good Shepherd lays down his life on behalf of others, allowing our time and our resources to be broken open and shared so that others may be fed, others may be loved, others may be soothed. This doesn't mean that you don't pay attention to your own needs. You can too. You can't feed somebody else if you haven't been fed yourself. You can't love someone else if you leave your own needs out of the equation. But here's the surprising thing that Jesus and the saints and religious leaders and scientists all agreed on. The well springs of joy and happiness lie in thinking of others, in compassion, and in daily, ordinary acts of thoughtfulness towards others, not in circling in on oneself and looking out solely for your own interests. The wonderful book, which I know some of you are reading, and those of you who aren't, I recommend it. It's called The Book of Joy. Anybody else reading that? Book of Joy. It's conversations between the Tibetan Buddhist Dalai Lama and the Anglican South African Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And they both make this point over and over again, that while suffering is inevitable, it can be greatly reduced. When you begin the day, you begin each day with this simple intent to help and serve others. With the intent to be with people as they are, rather than attempting to remake them to the way you want them to be, or the way you would prefer them to be. With the intent to be compassionate and kind with yourself, with your own failings and frailties. You might call it the liturgy of the ordinary. You don't need to escape your home or your life to find God and sanctity. You don't need to run away in order to pray. Instead, just follow Christ's example every day and empty yourself. Just empty yourself on behalf of others. Enter more deeply into the mess of the mystery of the domestic. Find the wholeness and holiness that is awaiting you there. The first poem that my spiritual director loves poetry, and I do too. She's 80 years old. She was when I first started with her, so she's getting on up there now. First poem that she taught me was Emily Dickinson's I'm Nobody. Who are you? This is the way it goes. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? And there's a pair of us. Don't tell, don't advertise. Wait, let me start over. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? And there's a pair of us. Don't tell, they advertise, How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog. To tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. When we begin to identify as a nobody, with all the nobodies of the world, as Jesus the Good Shepherd did, as the Dalai Lama does, who calls himself one human being amongst 7 billion human beings, as Archbishop Desmond Tutu does, who calls himself a simple priest among the people, a simple follower of Jesus. When we come down where we ought to be, as the Shakers used to sing, then we begin to know a delightful spiritual freedom and a joy in living our life just as it is, in true community with others. So over these 3 Eastertide weeks, I have preached on spiritual freedom. The first week on the freedom from fear, which is the fundamental freedom which the resurrection offers us. The second week on the spiritual freedom to be truly honest with ourselves and with God. And this week on this freedom to come down where we ought to be, where Jesus is. In the pots and the pans and the laptops and the meetings, and most of all in the relationships of our ordinary life.